With your CIGTV news update, community news, and weather forecast, I'm Donna Bush. Glad you could join us. The Cayman Islands Public Health Department's surveillance unit continues to deploy systematic and enhanced surveillance measures, working closely with the government and private sector physicians to review reports of suspected dengue. Today, we hear from head of the Mosquito and Research Control Unit, who provides us with an update.
We're continuing to deal with the situation, but we believe we've turned a corner at this point. So the press release that went out this past Friday indicated that we were at 17 local cases and 9 travel-related cases. We might have a few more confirmed positives come in the next couple of weeks, but we do believe, based on the lack of notifications at this point and how they have subsided over the last week or so, that we really have turned a corner in this disease situation and that we now have the upper hand. We always want to remind people that the mosquito that transmits dengue and Zika and chikungunya is a mosquito that's breeds in containers. It doesn't breed in the mangrove swamps. It's not breeding in the puddles of water, the water that you see in pastures. These are specifically produced in containers that we find in our yards, bird baths, that tire that's leaning up against the shed out back, an upright wheelbarrow, anything that can hold water longer than a week has the ability to produce these mosquitoes. So if folks would simply do a lap, inspect around their home on a weekly basis, tip over any containers that are holding water that aren't necessary in terms of holding water for a pet or a horse, something that has to drink, but change that water once a week, tip it over, get rid of the container if it's a container that really you just don't need around the home anymore. That will help yourself and your neighbors on either side of you and back of you immensely. And then always wear a repellent when these mosquitoes are active. So these mosquitoes, for the most part, are active dusk and dawn. Wear a repellent that works. The gold standard is still DEET. That's D-E-E-T. But there are other active ingredients, picaridin, an oil of lemon, that also work as a repellent. You can find those by going online at cdc.gov and typing in mosquito repellent. You'll see tried and true repellents that actually work. So again, use a repellent that works at all times.
And for more information, you can contact the Public Health Department on 244-2648. For advice on mosquito control, you can contact the MRCU on 949-2557 here in Grand Cayman or 948-2223 on Cayman-Brac. Well, the Department of Tourism partnered with Disney Cruise Lines as part of Disney's Cruise Lines annual holiday outreach initiatives last week. Disney Cruise Line crew members, along with beloved Disney characters, shared a holiday cheer with students at the Lighthouse School. Joining in the festivities and lending a helping hand to distribute the gifts were counselors Barbara Connolly and David White, as well as Deputy Chief Officer Lynette Monteith. This holiday season, Disney Cruise Line crew members delivered gifts to nearly 1,500 hospitals, children in hospitals, schools and children's care facilities throughout local port communities in the Caribbean region. Meantime, World Civil Aviation Day was celebrated on December 7th, and this year will mark 75 years since the anniversary.
This year, we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the signing of the Convention on Civil Aviation, when the governments came together in 1944 to declare cooperation for the future development of international civil aviation, to create and preserve friendship and understanding amongst the nations and peoples of the world. The governments agreed on certain principles and arrangements in order that international civil aviation may be developed in a safe and orderly manner, and that international air transport be established on the basis of equality of opportunity and operated soundly and economically. As a small island nation, sustainable economic development and prosperity is dependent on safe, reliable air transport to and from our islands. We celebrate our government's commitment to support our industry in ensuring that our aviation infrastructures, airlines, and regulatory oversight authority meet the spirit of this convention.
Mr. Smith, went on to say that, quote, he is very gratified to know that the CAACI has displayed a significant role to ensure that we lead the way in realizing our vision statement, a safe and credible aviation industry for the Cayman Islands, end quote. Now for a check on other community stories making Radio Cayman headlines today. Today is International Human Rights Day, and this year's theme is Youth Standing Up for Human Rights. The United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, along with the Cayman Islands Human Rights Commission, is calling for the empowerment of youth to better know and claim their rights in order to generate global benefits in matters such as education, climate change, civil and political participation, fighting racism, gender equality, and bullying, just to name a few. Now, the 2019 theme is capitalizing on the conclusion of the 30th anniversary of the adoption by world leaders of the Convention of the Rights of the Child. And you can check out Radio Cayman's website, radiocayman.gov.ky, for more community news. Meantime, as breast cancer resources have grown in the Cayman Islands, so has a call to awareness for women to understand, discuss, and trust their bodies. The community structure created through the Breast Cancer Foundation's programs has allowed survivors to connect and ease their stress. In today's Cayman Compass feature story, we hear from Tori Croft, who has faced a bumpy road with cancer, battling Hodgkin's disease as a teenager, and now breast cancer. Now she encourages other survivors to educate themselves as well as to share their experiences.
Last week, I went to Health City to pick up some medication, and I went in and there was another woman getting capped. And to see her getting capped picked me up a little bit. I just come back from Houston from an appointment where the appointment wasn't bad, it wasn't good, but it was, but seeing that was another example of something that picks you up and says, okay, I can keep fighting. So my initial diagnosis with cancer was Hodgkin's disease, which is a lymphatic cancer, was I could tell you the date, February 14th, 1995, because people tend to remember Valentine's Day. And I was diagnosed then, went through about 2 years of treatment and spent, I think, nearly 19 years cancer-free. And then back in 2015, I found a lump, and that began my breast cancer journey. From there, there's been a whole lot that was going on. Probably could write you a book, but I don't know how much time we have. So I initially had a double mastectomy and chemotherapy as part of my treatment. A big deal for me during that treatment was the Breast Cancer Foundation cold cap therapy that kept my hair. As you can imagine, back in 1995, being a teenager, losing my hair was not something that I was pretty happy about. So second time around in that chemo, I was able to keep my hair. And as I was saying to you, I thought 3 years ago that I was going to be on another pause. I spoke at the Breast Cancer Gala 3 years ago and spoke about my journey, and a few months later found out that it had returned. And from there's been lots of surgeries, there's been some radiation, and there's been a lot of pain, but today I'm stable. And as we said, I'm in the treatable, not curable phase of cancer, which can sound bad or it can sound good, depending on how you look at it. I try to, most of the time, think it's look at the bright side. It's very easy. Like I said, when I was a teenager, I hid away from it. And even in the 19 years in between, I didn't talk about it much. I didn't do things like this to educate people on it. I kind of slid it under. And I think the best thing you can do is to surround yourself with people that really care about the actual fight you're in, be it, you know, the breast cancer persons, and also the Cayman Islands Cancer Society. I encourage anybody with a cancer diagnosis, either or, to reach out to them, because the community that they can surround you with can be very helpful. I guess if you are going to talk to a friend or that has cancer and you immediately ask how that person's doing, don't forget to ask how the partner or the rest of the family are doing.
I will be king, and you will be queen.
And you can go online to caymancompass.com for more stories there as well. Turning now to today's weather forecast from the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. We can expect moderate east to northeast winds, and seas are expected to continue for the next 24 hours. As a ridge of high pressure remains across the Gulf of Mexico, radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the west. Today's high temperature reached 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Forecast calls for mostly sunny skies during the day, partly cloudy skies at night with a 20% chance of showers. Winds are east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Sea conditions are slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. And you can go online to weather.gov.ky for the latest forecast, which can also be found on their Facebook page as well as on the Weather Radio dial 107.9 FM. Remember, you can also download their app CINWS. And that's the latest from us here at CIG Television. If you happen to have missed today's news update, you can go to the Cayman Islands Government Facebook page as well as the CIG Television YouTube channel. I'm Donna Bush, wishing you a safe and wonderful night and inviting you to join me again tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye for now.
Join Donna Bush weekdays at 6 p.m. for the CIGTV News Update. Get the latest on what's happening in government on a daily basis. News Update first at 6 p.m.
The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service has launched a new service to apply for a police clearance certificate online. To make this process quick and easy, ensure you have digital copies of all required documents readily available. At a minimum, you'll need a copy of your passport photo page. Our website lists the full requirements. If you are using an Apple iOS or Android mobile device, you can use the camera to take photos of these documents while completing your application. After you have read the instructions and are ready to start, type in the alphanumeric string from the CAPTCHA image and click the green button that says Start Application. If you can't read the letters and numbers properly, click Can't Read Image below the photo to try again. To complete your application, you will follow 5 simple steps. These are shown at the top of each page, and the blue circle will always show where you are right now. Enter the requested data in each field. All fields marked with an asterisk are required. Each field has some help information, and please pay attention to the correct format for dates and telephone numbers in particular. When selecting your birthday, you can also use the calendar feature. If a field has a drop-down list, you can scroll through alphabetically or start typing to find the correct option. You will be asked to enter your email address twice to ensure it's correct. This is the address we will use to send you a confirmation email and receipt. Once you have entered all of the required information, click Next at the bottom of the screen. If you click the Cancel Application button at any stage in the process, you will lose everything you've entered so far and be returned to the home page. On this page, answer the questions about past offenses, provide details if relevant, and then click Next. In this step, you will select the type of service being requested and details of the person applying, as well as anyone who might pick up the certificate on his or her behalf. If you select certain options, more information may be required at this stage or later in the process when you are uploading your documents. Finally, select the reasons you are applying and then click Next. If you make a mistake, use the drop-down menu to change the reason or click the red X to delete a line. Remember, if you click the Cancel Application button at any stage in the process, you will lose everything you've entered so far and be returned to the home page. If you need to go back to a previous page to review or change data you already entered, you can use the Back button. You can also navigate through the process using the links at the top of the page. On this page, you will be asked for the relevant digital documents to support your application. On each line, click the Upload icon, select the correct file, and then click Upload. Repeat this process for each document. Based on the information you've already entered, this page will tell you the basic documents required. However, please remember to read the guidance notes to ensure you've included everything for your particular application. You can click the Upload More Documents button if you need to add more files, using the Comments field to briefly explain the additional documents you are submitting. If you go back to previous sections after uploading documents and make changes that affect these requirements, you may need to re-upload your documents. This is the final page before submission. Please review all information provided to ensure it is accurate and complete. You won't be able to change anything on this page, but you can use the Back button or the links at the top of the page to return to earlier pages and update any field. By submitting this application, you are declaring that the information provided is accurate and truthful. If you are satisfied with your application, click Proceed to Online Payment. You may need to allow pop-ups and then click the button again to show the payment screen where you will enter your debit or credit card information. The Cayman Islands government accepts Visa and MasterCard, and you can use a debit or credit card issued anywhere in the world. Payment will be processed in Cayman Islands dollars for local service, and in United States dollars for overseas service. If you have questions about any exchange rate that will be used, or foreign currency transaction fees, please contact the bank that issued your card. The Cayman Islands government will not receive or retain your card information. Once your online payment has been authorized, you can view and print your receipt. Click Continue to return to our webpage for details on pickup date and time. If there is an issue with your application and we have to contact you for more information, your application may be delayed. You will also receive a confirmation email with this information and your official receipt. Please remember to bring your passport for identification when you collect your certificate from the Criminal Records Office.
The Esterly Tibbetts Highway 3-lane roundabout is ready for drivers. It's time to make sure you know how to use it. First, know which exit you need to take. Pay attention to lane arrows and signs. Make sure you use your signal to change lanes or exit the roundabout. To turn left, you always approach in the left-hand lane and indicate left. To drive straight ahead, you need to be looking out for signs and road markings indicating which lane to use. Get in one of the lanes marked with a straight-through arrow. If turning right, you must use the right-hand lane and indicate accordingly. To use the roundabout safely, remember these 3 tips. Know your exit, pick your lane, and signal to make your turn.